This regular meeting is called to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Schiraldi, please call the roll.
Mrs. Mahalis?
Here.
Mrs. Click?
Here.
Mrs. Fuller?
Here.
Mr. Acom?
Here.
Dr. Schneider?
Here.
All right, tonight we begin our meeting with special reports and recognitions. The Aurora Board of Education is proud to recognize and congratulate the following students for being selected by Rotary International as Students of the Month. From the high school, we have Emily Tomorrow and Xavier Board. May I have a motion, please?
Moved.
Mr. Schiraldi, please call the roll.
Mrs. Click?
Yes.
Mrs. Fuller?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahalis?
Yes.
Mr. Acom?
Yes.
Dr. Schneider?
Yes.
All right, students, would you please come forward and get your certificate?
You want to come all the way around? Congratulations. The green standing medal. You can pose with that. I know, now you get one. Green standing medal. Congratulations. That's going to use that in your picture afterwards.
Go ahead and make your way over to the podium. Yeah.
We're nearing May, and there's so much to celebrate in the greenhouse, especially in this month, but I'm especially excited to be with all of you. Aurora High School is proud to recommend two students, Emily Tomorrow and Xavier Board, to our Board of Education as our Rotary Students of the Month. We would also like to extend our sincere thanks to Mrs. Pam Hollis and our Board of Education, as well as our Aurora Rotary, for providing us the opportunity to recognize two amazing seniors. There are so many students in our district worthy of celebration, and it is truly wonderful to have the opportunity to highlight their achievements and impact on our community as part of our board meetings. Our first student, Emily Tomorrow, embodies the light within our greenhouse, gently and kindly encouraging those around her to open their hearts. Like sunshine over a field of flowers, her presence draws others in, helping them feel safe, valued, and free to be themselves. Through her example, she inspires a spirit of care and compassion in everyone around her, whether it be at Princess Prom, NHS Trunk or Treat, the Aurora Historical Society, or in her roles as a freshman mentor, AHS ambassador, and Interact Club member. Emily Tomorrow's light and service to others is inspiring to see. Mrs. Tony Taylor, our senior class advisor and English teacher, echoes this and describes Emily as a rare student who balances high-level achievement with a deep, authentic kindness that elevates the entire classroom environment. In the classroom, Emily is a joy to teach and the embodiment of an attentive learner. She approaches every lesson with thoughtful focus, giving her full respect to all teachers and classmates during discussions. What sets Emily apart is her intrinsic motivation. She isn't just working for a grade, she is working to master her skills. Her work ethic is truly admirable as she consistently exceeds the requirements of assignments to explore topics with greater depth. She is a passionate learner who leads by example. Emily has the biggest heart. She is naturally inclusive and possesses a keen emotional intelligence, often going out of her way to ensure no one feels left out. This optimistic, patient approach to life makes her a pillar of support for those around her. Emily plans to attend Bowling Green State University this fall, and we congratulate Emily on being named an Aurora Rotary Student of the Month and express our deepest gratitude for the light she brings to our greenhouse. She is a student who truly makes us glow.
Good evening, everyone. First, I would like to sincerely thank the Rotary Club its dedicated members, and the Board of Education for selecting me as April Student of the Month. I'm truly honored and incredibly grateful to receive this award. Being recognized by an organization that has done so much for students and for our community makes this moment even more special. I would also like to thank my family, because I would not be the person I am today without them. They have supported me through every success, every challenge, and every uncertain moment. They have always encouraged me to work hard, stay kind, and never give up on myself. Over the years, they have instilled in me the morals and values of respect, perseverance, compassion, and humility. Everything I do is built on the foundation that they gave me. Throughout high school, I have been involved in the National Honor Society, the Interact Club, Freshman Mentors, and Aegis Ambassadors. These experiences have meant so much to me because they have shown me the importance of giving back whenever and wherever I can. They taught me that helping others doesn't just impact the people around you, but it changes you too. Serving others has helped me grow into a more grateful, understanding, and compassionate person. One of the clubs that has impacted me the most has been the Interact Club, because it gave me so many opportunities to volunteer within my own community. Being able to give my time to causes that directly help the people around me has been incredibly rewarding. It made me realize that community service does not always have to be something huge to matter. Sometimes even the smallest actions can mean the most to others. Being a freshman mentor has also been very personal to me. I remember how overwhelming the transition to high school could feel, so being able to help younger students, like me, through the same challenges was something that I truly valued. If I were able to make even one student feel more comfortable, more confident, and less alone, then it was worth it. Another person who has made a lasting impact on me is my 12th grade English teacher, Miss Taylor. She gave me back my love for reading and helped me become a stronger writer through her feedback and encouragement. But what stood out to me most was how she cared for us as people. I never felt like I was another student in her classroom. She always wanted updates about our lives, asked how we were doing, and supported us through everything. She showed me that teachers are not just there to teach lessons, but are there to care, to guide, and help students believe in themselves. My involvement within these clubs has also strengthened my passion for helping others, which is something I plan to carry with me long after high school. Although my volunteering opportunities through AHS are slowly coming to an end, I fully plan to continue volunteering in college. In the fall, I will be attending Bowling Green State University to major in criminal justice with a forensic specialization. For a long time, I thought I wanted to become a nurse because my mom and my aunts all work in the medical field. Growing up around them, I saw firsthand what it meant to dedicate your life to helping others. I knew I wanted that same purpose, but eventually I realized I wanted to help differently. I found that through criminal justice. I hope to provide answers provide answers and closure to families during some of the hardest moments of their lives. I hope to give a voice to those who can no longer speak for themselves. I've always believed that a person dies twice, once when they physically pass away, and a second time when their story stops being told. I hope through my future career that I can help prevent that second death, because every person deserves to be remembered and every story deserves to be heard. That is why Rotary's mission means so much to me. Through community cleanups, supporting students, scholarships, speech contests, and helping nearly eliminate polio worldwide, Rotary shows how a lasting impact can happen when people actively choose to serve others. Thank you again to the Rotary Club, the Board of Education, my family, my teachers, and everyone here tonight for this incredible honor. I'm truly thankful, and I will always remember this moment. Thank you.
Good evening. It is my honor to recognize our second Rotary Student of the Month, Xavier Board. When you speak with Xavier, you quickly learn that his aspirations are rooted in both purpose and passion. He sees himself one day returning to the classroom, teaching high school world history and coaching football as a running backs coach, continuing the very impact that has shaped his own journey. Xavier speaks openly about adversity, not as a barrier, but as a blessing, believing that every challenge is an opportunity to grow as a person, student, future educator, and athlete. He carries deep gratitude for the greenhouse, sharing that the ups, the downs, and everything in between have shaped him into who he is today. Through his experiences, He has developed resilience, empathy, and the ability to build meaningful relationships, all while pursuing his childhood dream of playing college football on scholarship. But what makes Xavier truly special is not just what he hopes to accomplish, it is who he already is. Xavier is a captain and all-state running back for our football team, a member of track and field, and an active participant in numerous leadership and service roles across our school community. He serves as a student liaison for the Aurora Schools Foundation. He is a member of the Superintendent's Advisory Council, an AHS ambassador, and has been involved in both the National Honor Society and the National Technical Honor Society. His commitment to service and growth extends into education as well, having served as a pre-student teacher at Harmon Middle School and currently at Lake. AHS English teacher Mr. Albrecht described him best, sharing, "Xavier is one of the most mature young men I have ever had the chance to work with. He participates in class and the other students really look up to him. What I like most about Xavier is that he's not afraid to try new things. During English class one day, I mentioned that he should audition for the fall play. We're always looking for guys. He actually did and earned one of the spots in our play. This was the first time he was on stage. He did great. That led him to helping out backstage during the musical. He really helped us out and everything ran smoothly." From AHS science teacher Mrs. Bell, "He is bright, thoughtful, and kind. He genuinely wants to understand the material. He leads by example and does not judge his peers. He goes above and beyond what is expected of him." Xavier, thank you for the example that you have set, for the way you have enriched our school community, and for reminding us what is possible when perseverance is matched with humility and heart.
Okay, so I don't know how many of you board members were here 4 years ago, but this is actually my second time receiving this award. It's a little bit different because my voice isn't as squeaky and I'm not on a Zoom call, but you know, I'm as grateful, if not more, as I was before. Also, speaking of that speech, I spent a lot of time, and Mr. Torres also spent a lot of time bragging about myself. And as much as you guys probably want to hear 20 more minutes of me doing that, I want to change the direction for gratitude. For those of you who do not know, my name is Xavier Board. I am a future Aurora High School graduate going to Gannett University to pursue a degree in secondary education. And today, instead of bragging about myself, instead of listing my accomplishments, I have a brief list of thank yous. I first and foremost want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Without what he's done, I wouldn't be here, and none of us would be here. I would like to thank the administration, Dr. Milsitich, Mr. Hayes, Dr. Patch, Mr. Baker, and Mr. Torres. Their leadership has shaped my life and my career, and as well as the lives and careers of all of my peers, and we are truly grateful for your leadership. I would like to thank the rest of the Board of Education for nominating me twice. I appreciate that. I'd like to thank Mr. Abramovich. What you have done during some of the most interesting times in my life as a mentor, I will always remember. I would like to thank Aurora High School's office secretaries, Ms. Lukasik and Mrs. Berger. They do all of the unheard work, and it's something that we should all be grateful for. I'd like to thank all of my Aurora teachers, from Mrs. Schofield, my very first class in 6th grade, all the way to Mr. Albrecht, my very last class in 12th grade. I'd like to thank my 3rd, 6th, and 8th grade students for always, and I mean always, being honest with me, especially when I don't want to hear it. I also like to thank any other teacher or mentor that I've ever had, or coach, because I can't name the endless names of people that have positively influenced me, but I want everybody to know that they have made an influence on me. I'd like to thank the Aurora High School custodial crew, as well as the Harmon Middle School custodial crew. When you want to talk about doing unheard work, they're in there at night, they're in there at day, and not just the cleaning, but they're people who spend time with us. I don't think I would have got through our 6-hour football practices without, Daryl or Kurt making jokes or, hanging out with us. So they do all the unheard work. I'd like to thank the Aurora Schools Foundation for taking a gamble on me and, signing me or inviting me to be the first ever student liaison. I hope that my tenure with the Aurora Schools Foundation made a lasting impact in my community, and I also hope that we can continue to have student liaisons. I'd like to thank all of my friends, my family, and my peers, including Emily, for, always pushing me and always, trying to drive me to be the best version of myself, as well as anybody else who nominated me for this honor. I would also like to thank my adversity. Mr. Torres talked about it very well, and we did not correlate this, just so you guys know. But my adversity is the reason I am here. My adversity is the reason that I am the person that I am. And adversity reminds all of us that without the lows, without the losses, the wins don't mean as much. And most importantly, I would like to thank my parents and my sister, as well as my grandparents and every other extended family. Without the consistency, dedication, love, and sacrifices that you have all made, I would not be anywhere near the person I am today. This award is just as much mine as it is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, students, and congratulations on a well-deserved honor. Are we going to get pictures? A couple pictures? Okay. Okay. Okay, while they're doing that, we can move on. We don't have anyone who signed up to speak tonight, so we will move on to the approval of the minutes from our March 30th meeting. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
Are there any edits or comments, additions to those minutes? Okay, Mr. Schiraldi, please call the roll.
Dr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahalis?
Yes.
Mrs. Click?
Yes.
Mr. Akam?
Yes.
Mrs. Fuller?
All right, minutes are approved as written. Maybe we'll wait another minute to see. Looks like they know that they can do that. All right, so now we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Yes, I will go first, and I'm going to have Mrs. Morelos actually go up to the microphone over there. We'll pull up her presentation. Board of Education, I know that you were either up here or perhaps in the audience through the last few years of English language arts updates from Mrs. Jen Miller, our reading coach, and myself, as we went through all the changing landscape with reading and dyslexia and all those requirements. We're through most of that. However, there is now a math bill that is evolved and continues to evolve that has sort of been in the works for years, and it's actually still not finalized. I'll keep talking as Mr. Hayes gets this rebooted. We're having some technical difficulties with that. So it's still not passed, Senate Bill 19. However, I wanted to have Kara come in as our math coach, one of our math experts, to talk a little bit about what we're doing in the district in terms of just where we are with math and math curriculum, but then also connected to SB 19, some of which we think we know how it's going to end up, but the legislature continues to add things, take things out, and so it's still not finalized, but at the same point in time, since it's just been going on so long, I thought it'd be good for the board to have an update on math, just like we've had with ELA. So with that being said, Mrs. Morelos, the floor is yours. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you, and good evening to everybody on the board. I'm going to talk about just two different components, and it's a brief overview tonight, but the Ohio Math Plan is one component, and then there's the legislation that's right now sitting in the House and We're waiting to see some of the final details. So, clicker. Here we go. Ohio now has a vision for mathematics, and it's to empower students with the confidence and ability to apply mathematical concepts, procedures, and reasoning, enabling students to thrive in a variety of contexts, life experiences, and career pathways. So this vision is outlined in the Ohio Math Plan, which was released this past June. And this is actually a beautiful document. This was put together by an advisory council of over 30 members, which included administrators, instructional coaches, teachers, people from math organizations like the Ohio Council of Teacher of Mathematics. And all of them, they were interviewed several times throughout the year working on this plan, which was released. And I will say that it absolutely aligns with our vision of what we want for kids. And three of the pillars of that Ohio Math Plan are high quality instructional materials. We don't just want teachers grabbing things off of Teacher Pay Teachers or Pinterest, or we want actually evidence-based curricula. Like we have CPM at our middle school, we have Bridges at Harmon, and we have an innovative design at our K2 with a mix of curricula. Then it has a second pillar of the math plan is effective teaching strategies. And that's the how, right? We want to know what's the implementation of that curricula. You can have great materials, but if you don't know how to implement them effectively, then they're going to fall short. And then last is that component of professional capital that we need to provide development for our teachers, whether it's inside or outside of the district. And that's speaking the same language from principals to coaches to teachers within the district, that we're all speaking that same language of that vision of mathematics for all kids. Sorry, my clicker's delayed. Oh. Towards Mike. There we go. So the component of the effective teaching practices is really, if you have to think about when most of our experience with mathematics was about answer getting, right? It was getting it fast, it was following the procedure that the teacher was showing you, and then you'd go practice that for several problems, sometimes more than you ever wanted to, right? We know now that we want to focus on more the why behind and build deep conceptual understanding before kids apply procedures. So that really puts the heavy lifting on them as well, that they're doing the thinking and reasoning and not the teacher, right? So if the teacher's showing a procedure, they're doing all the thinking and reasoning and saying, okay, do what I just did. And we don't want that. We know now that there's more than one way to effectively solve a problem. There's many variety of efficient and effective ways. And I've been most recently coaching in first and second grade classrooms, and I am blown away about all of the strategies that they apply when they have strong number sense and the ability to share their strategies. And working with the teachers that are providing that intentional pattern dosing of giving them problem strings and number talks. So, I mean, literally I saw second graders applying a negative number strategy. Some were using removal, some were thinking of subtraction as distance, and all with the same problem and all very efficiently. So we know that this is empowering for our learners to do this. The 8 effective teaching strategies are what teachers should be doing, and that's what is outlined up here. If you think of, we need to establish math goals to focus learning, so we need to really set the intention, what do we want students to learn? Then we need to pick really rich tasks that are interesting, right? And those, we like to say low floor, high ceiling. Like there's entry for everybody, but you can literally take it to the moon and back if you want. We need to use and connect mathematical representations. We live in a very visual world now. We can pull up all kinds of interactive, virtual manipulatives. We can also, for them, we can create, they can draw models. We're using a lot of models in math class today, hands-on manipulatives, bead racks, 10 frames. So all of these help create a visual representation of the mathematics and increase understanding. We need to facilitate meaningful mathematical discourse. So we like to think in our classrooms that we have the kids talking about math more than the teacher. And so when kids are provided a chance to share their strategy and then provide evidence why it makes sense. And then to debate about it, right? I mean, I think none of us really experienced a math class where we could debate and talk. It was a lot the teacher told us and we were to do it. So, and we know that's going to serve them in everything they do in life, right? To be able to strategically and critically think about things and provide evidence for why they think that way. Pose purposeful questions. So teachers, what a math class might look like now when they're doing that task, they might be giving hints and extensions. And so really keeping the kids in flow based on what they're observing and the interactions in front of them. And so our teachers need to be very masterful facilitators of math discussions. They're providing procedural fluency, but with conceptual understanding. So we're not just memorizing multiplication facts, we understand multiplication as groups of. Because if I know that 4 times 5 is 4 groups of 5, that helps me to figure out 14 groups of 5, because I can think of 10 groups of 5 plus 4 groups of 5. And those are the types of strategies we want our kids to be thinking about. Or if they're doing 19 times 5, that they can think, oh, it's 20 groups of 5, and I just take away a group. So that's the flexibility and the number sense that we're trying to achieve in our mathematics classrooms. Supporting productive struggle. Sometimes people think that's just like throwing you in and like throwing you in the water and say swim or not swim. That's not it. It's really about perseverance, right? In order to solve complex problems, we've got to build stamina for productive struggle. Otherwise, you just give up, right, and hit a wall. So what do you do when you don't know what to do? And so that's the importance of the productive struggle. It doesn't mean that we're just not scaffolding and we're not giving those hints and helping them get to that end goal. And then elicit and use evidence of student thinking. And this is where we use the actual student strategies to build understanding. And that's that consolidation at the end of class that, okay, we went and did all these things. I've observed this group do that, this group do that. Which one am I going to pull in first and then next to build and create understanding for all now? Because they might not have all gotten there, and that's that consolidation piece. So those are our 8 effective strategies. This is in the Ohio Math Plan. It's a beautiful thing. We have really nurtured these for years. I mean, this is what we believe. This aligns with our design specs. Process over product, learning is social. So these are nothing that we're worried about. These are so that was what the teachers are doing. These are what the kids are doing, the standards of math practice. So the kids need to persevere and make sense of problems. The kids are constructing arguments and critiquing the reasoning of others. The kids are modeling the mathematics in different ways, whether it's on a number line or with equations or with an area model. The kids are attending to precision, so we're not saying, when we say we're not focusing on getting right answers anymore, we still want them to get right answers. But it's just, we know the process, how they got there is where the reasoning and thinking lies. And that's a window into where I need to instruct as a teacher, because I know where I need to build when I see their understanding. So this would be what the kids are doing, which is the other component. And then legislation. So Ohio Math Plan, not in law, not legislation, but what is put out by the Ohio Department of Education, supported by the math community, beautiful thing. Then we have legislators as kind of a spawn of House Bill 96, putting out a math bill now. So that is Senate Bill 19, and the different features of Senate Bill 19, some good things and some bad things, but they took a two-prong approach. So they want to work on basically the reason why they're focused on math. We know proficiency in Ohio went down, and then it was accelerated by the pandemic. But it is back on the rise. We're slowly getting back to where we were pre-pandemic. But this is kind of to put some safeguards in place to improve math achievement. So they're kind of taking that two-prong approach of like, let's look at intervention, who needs intervention, our struggling learners, and then how do we push our kids on the other end, on the advanced side of the spectrum that need a quicker pace and are ready for more of a challenge. And so one thing that they are proposing is advanced learning opportunities for grades 3 through 5, and then a automatic enrollment to Algebra 1 for our 7th graders to 8th graders based on if they score on one point of data, and this is the controversial point, accomplished or advanced on the OST. And so most people in the math community, we look at multiple points of data, and kids are more than a number on one point in one day. So this is, something that's been up for debate about how they're pushing kids and will they hit a wall and how do we provide for that scaffolding. But we do provide enrichment in our grades 3 through 5. Oh, that's okay. I got to back up. Our technology's not working well. So we do provide enrichment. Most of our teachers now have been trained to be for gifted instruction as well. Like most of them are getting that credential as well. So through differentiation within the classroom. And then we have compacted courses in middle school that we move kids based on how they score on a couple different data points. So that's one element, is the automatic enrollment that would be in this bill, that a parent would have to opt out, that they would just automatically, if they score. And also, just to know, accomplished sounds great, but on a test like that, that could mean they got scored as low as 60%. So it's just, it's a little it's a little deceiving when they say the accomplished or advanced on the OST. And then the other component is that the accountability piece, schools that are scoring less than 51% proficient would have to be on an improvement plan. Obviously, that would not apply to us. There would be some required professional development for teachers, much like I'm thinking like they did science of reading, but there would be some math training that would be required. And then, of course, there are RIMPs. Now they're proposing MIMPs, the Math Improvement Plan, and that's for our kids that would score limited or basic on state tests, would then trigger some high-dose tutoring 3 times a week for them. Then the last component is curriculum control, and the state is taking that, proposing to take that away from local control, that they would produce a list of 5 curricula that they think is high quality. And I don't anticipate that our current curricula would not be on that list, but the state throws some surprises sometimes, but it is one of the most highly used, and it is highly rated in ed reports, which is something they value, that they look at. And so we don't anticipate that's going to be a problem, our Bridges and our CPM curricula. They also came out with 5 diagnostic math diagnostics, and they surprised us that some of them did not align with the reading diagnostics. So next year we will, for the first time ever, I think have 2 different diagnostics, one for math, one for reading. That's a universal screener essentially, but the state calls it a diagnostic. And we will continue with Ames Web, which is what we currently have. And then the reading is looking into some different possibilities because Ames Web was taken off of their list. So fun times. But yeah, so the curriculum control, the teacher requirement, there are some licensing things that might change a little bit too, because they're looking to train pre-service teachers more too. So those are good things. So those are kind of right now the House is on recess, but they've proposed some amendments, and then it'll go back and forth a little bit with the Senate. and we're just waiting to hear the final details. But one thing is that they'll push the curriculum list possibly to next spring. It was supposed to come out this spring, and now they're saying possibly next spring, so we will find out. But in conclusion, we will continue to nurture and design learning environments that we know are best for kids, and that's the effective teaching practices, standards of math practice, our design specifications. We are nurturing future-ready learners, right, who are going to be collaborative, critical thinkers, flexible thinkers, and apply those competencies in whatever career they choose. So, like our amazing students that spoke today. And if you have any questions or comments, I'm happy to answer.
I think it's great that we're ahead of the game in terms of the effective teaching practices, right? And you said
Yes.
we're already doing it. And did you say you think that our curriculum will be one of the 5 that is approved?
I do. I will be I would put money on it, but the state does some really crazy things.
Don't.
Yeah, CPM at the middle school and the high school, and then Bridges 3 through 5 are both pretty well established. Curriculum's a great reputation, so we would be surprised if those are not on the approved list when it is finally released.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big help.
And they're wonderful curriculum, so, I mean, it supports our vision and our design specs, so we don't anticipate any controversy there. Hopefully, that they will be on the list. They are widely used and highly rated in ed reports, so.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Interesting.
Thank you, Mrs. Morelos.
You are very welcome.
Okay, that concludes your report.
The microphone, can we grab that? Yes, it does. Mr. Hayes is going to go next and talk about some professional development day use time.
All right, so thank you to Ms. Smalls and the board for allowing me to shed some light on our in-service days that we had in both February and March. And so anytime that the Board of Education grants us this release time, we want to be clear and transparent about how we're using that time to really continue to effectively enhance our students' experiences, grow our ability to collaborate as staff members, and hopefully, being aligned with the Green Standard. So what I want to do today is walk you through what kind of each building did on both the 13th as well as what we kind of focused on March 6th. So starting with February 13th, I first want to give, extend gratitude to our building administrators, our instructional coaches. We really took a decentralized approach to this day. We wanted each individual building to be focused on things that were pertinent, that were relevant to their particular building at that particular time of the year. And that comes with strong leadership who are willing to be listening to their teachers and put together practices that are really meaningful and timely. So thank you to all of our administrators and coaches. Just starting things off, Miller and Craddock both used a lot of that time to take a deep dive into their narrative-based reporting system. So for those of you who aren't familiar, Miller and Craddock are using trimester schedules, so it's not necessarily the same as the traditional quarter schedule. So that February 13th date really aligns well with where we would fall to give families really good qualitative feedback, and it allows the staff members to really work together to develop a lot of those narrative reports. Then moving over to Layton, really the focus here was on vertical team analysis. So the math team mapped out small group instructional strategies based on diagnostic data, while the ELA teams examined student annotation and note-taking, which are really just durable skills that are practical all the way through, and especially as our kids continue to advance in the middle part of the year to get where they were, where we want them to go by the end of the year. Another part of that day in the elementary levels was spent where our special education teams and our PK5 MTSS teams got together, and as Mrs. Morelos noted, that our ELA curriculum is getting there's different options from vendors from the state, and we were going to have to potentially pivot what some of those vendors looked like. So we took time during that day to bring a lot of these people together who administer a lot of these diagnostic tests, and we had two different vendors, which one of them was iReady, and the other one was called Acadience. And so did a lot of training on both of those systems so that our teachers could start trialing them, which they've been doing over the course of the last couple of months. And this was so that when, hey, we have to make a decision about what type of vendor to go with, our staff is prepped and prepared to know what's actually the best to move forward. So there was a lot of legwork that went in well before the February 13th date to be able to bring those things to our staff members, to allow people to actually have training to go through it all. And so spent hours actually going through that. And most likely, we're probably going to go for the ELA component with the iReady as we move forward, because like Mrs. Morelos noted, Ames Web was what we were currently using, and that's no longer going to be an option for ELA. And then just shifting gears to Harmon and the high school, they spent a lot of time uniquely. Harmon really dove into Power BI data, and for those of you who aren't familiar, Power BI is a platform from the state which allows all teachers to have access to really detailed score reporting that's connected to questions on OSTs, standards driven, so that our teachers can be really, really diagnostic. So another part of this date is crucial because as our teachers have been able to connect with our kids throughout the course of the year, they've gotten to know them, know where they are. Then they can go back and look at, hey, how they've been performing. They've been doing some benchmark checks throughout the course of the year, so they can use the OST platform to do some benchmark checks, and they can use that data to drive their next steps as they kind of prep for the next 2 months, so to speak, when they were getting our kids prepared for those OSTs. So they did a deep dive there, and then subsequently aligning what their strategy is going to be like from a different PLC perspective. Then shifting gears to the high school, they did a lot of work on student intrinsic motivation, connecting to how we continue to help our kids grow, learn, especially with a variety of different SEL needs, connecting into our MTSS processes, so staff did case study scenarios, and then they really got into a lot of UDL, which stands for Universal Design of Learning, which are really, like Ms. Morelos actually used a great term of low floor, high ceiling types of strategies. So there's entry points for all of our students to go in, and yet really sky's the limit in terms of what they can do with some of these strategies. So they focused a lot of intentional time there to continuously grow our ability to help our kids continue to achieve and grow at the highest of levels. All right, so with that, I'll shift to the March 6th date. So where the February 13th date was really decentralized with a lot of really building specific needs, the March 6th date we kind of shifted and had a lot of external experts coming in. We also had a lot of time for our staff members then to collaborate in their departments, in their PLCs, to taking a lot of other, having a lot of time to continue to map things out, but for the home stretch of the year. But this thing keeps going out. But what I'll tell you first, in this room here, we held 4 sessions from Dr. Emily Mofield, who's kind of a nationally renowned expert on the world of gifted education. And although we use that term gifted education, it's really, again, kind of connects to universal design and learning strategies, things that can be applied to kids in every single classroom. And there were 4 different sessions here, as well as kind of a catch-all session where people could come in, ask questions and things like that. But each of the sessions was really geared towards specific subsets of our staff population. So some that were geared more towards secondary teachers, some that were geared more towards elementary teachers. And we were able to bring Dr. Mofield in through the Jennings grant that we had received past year, so it was at no cost to the district. So it was great, and extending gratitude to Becky Quinn, our gifted coordinator, who helped make that happen. We also had, based on some staff feedback, wanting to have some legal updates from regarding 504 compliance. So our staff members are always kind of going through how to handle certain situations regarding student accommodations and things like that. So we brought in one of our attorneys that we work with, and she provided kind of a really engaging think tank session in our media center where we had members from all different buildings, from administration to counseling to teachers, all coming together to be able to ask questions of their legal team about how to handle specific scenarios. And she had a little breadbasket where she pulled out prompts and topics and went through them all and went through different situations and how to handle them to be compliant legally. And she's really engaging and great. Give me 1 sec, I'll just reconnect this here.
We are actually getting a quote to hardwire this. We've gone back and forth between the wires to the Ditto, and now we're just going to get another setup and try our third setup for board meetings to make sure that this works, along with some updated speakers when Mr. Aquila gets that from Shannon Electric. So more infrastructure investment.
All right, sorry about that. And then give a shout out here to Mr. Maglianico, Mr. Torres. They did a lot of work with our paraeducators throughout the course of that day. So we brought in specialized training to help them. That was something too that came from feedback from our staff of our paraeducators wanting more robust opportunities to grow within their craft. So we brought in some outside experts to really help them continue to have more opportunities to grow within their roles. Sal in the back there, as well as Krista Greeny with the nutrition group, also brought in some people to work with our kitchen staff. They did some knife safety training updates. We had some CPR training going on. So there was just a wealth of things happening throughout the course of that day. But then one of the other things that I wanted to touch on, it's the last bullet point up here, is just connects to enrollment and staffing alignment. So this particular day is really meaningful because it comes off of the heels of our enrollment numbers kind of being done from the high school in terms of registration, as well as our kindergarten registration kind of being finalized at that time. So what that allows us as an administrative team to be able to do is start projecting staffing needs and then to take the subsequent next steps. And that also involves a wealth of conversations about what are we going to do next so we can be good fiscal stewards for the district while also giving our kids the best opportunities possible. So if we don't have a certain number of students enrolling in a particular course, that may adjust where a particular teacher is needed throughout the course of the day. Depending on how many students are enrolling in kindergarten, it might impact, our staffing needs there, how we might have to shift people, and that's not just regular teachers, that involves paraeducators, and so many other subsequent needs throughout the district. So that day allows us to be able to break down a lot of that data, that information, have detailed conversations with each building team. So Dr. Milsich and I started out that morning at the high school, talking with the high school team, moved over, connected with Mr. Bramovich and the middle school team, talked with the elementary team as well, looking at where we needed to make some adjustments and things like that and where we could go for the rest of this spring. And that allows us to, operate effectively and smoothly moving forward. But that's the type of thing that, we couldn't just do that on the February 13th date. You know what I mean? It's time sensitive, and that date is really meaningful for us to be able to do that work and have those good conversations. And a lot of times that means that a building administrator might then have to go back and have a conversation with additional staff members and things like that. So truly grateful for having that opportunity. And so just to close, at the beginning of the school year, we really stressed upon the reset model. That's a text that our admin team read, and we've kind of weaved these elements within a lot of our work this year. So the sense, diagnose, decide, act, and adapt. And so when we look at this time of the year, the February and March PD days, we really look at that as the acting phase, where we can analyze data, where we can look at new tools like Acadians and iReady, where we can look at OST data and then make adjustments where then we can kind of shift into the adapt phase, where then from say late February, early March to the home stretch of the year, we can then put those practices into play to set ourselves up for success, to set our kids up for success to wrap up the school year. So ultimately, I just want to give you guys kind of a sense of how we're using that time, trying to be really strategic and efficient with it, but we're also incredibly grateful for the opportunity to do all this great work to serve our kids, our colleagues, and our community. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you may have, but also have to say, go green. Well, they're vendor assessments, so they're not curriculums. So they're basically, for example, Acadians, when we're looking at a student at Miller Elementary's ability to speak, they're using this tool where a student is saying a word, they're listening to the sound and having to track it on this iPad or touchscreen computer based off of what they're hearing and tracking. So there's some human error elements that can come into place. That I took a lot of those, and you do them in a minute. It's very stressful, where you're going through and you don't want to make a mistake or anything like that. But it's also very authentic in terms of you're really getting in and hearing what the child is doing. Whereas in some cases, if a student is just taking an assessment based on a computer where they're selecting an answer or something like that, it might not be giving you the best data that you would ultimately want to have. In terms of just general feedback, from our staff, iReady allows us to do a lot more and could also be a little bit more cost effective. So for example, some of our gifted testing and things like that has to happen from grades 2 and on, that we have to use other vendors for, we can actually, we're in compliance with iReady to use that as a tool as opposed to having to pay multiple other vendors. So that's probably a driving force right now. But there's pros and cons to all of them, but they're basically, starting data points, and we're always collecting multiple data points. So it's just one type of thing, and we're seeing where we can continue to grow. We actually started this process before the state was even saying that we had to shift anything, because really a lot of our student performance data, we were seeing even using Ames Web, that maybe some of the students that we would traditionally have flagged for maybe needing intervention were not getting flagged that way, but that's based off of state data and things like that, so which is maybe a little bit more skewed. So even talking with a lot of the different vendors, it's they're saying like, hey, you're probably going to see similar types of things. It's not necessarily, hey, this is Ames Web is not having the correct assessments or anything like that. So it's just kind of a byproduct of the state, but ultimately probably leaning in towards the iReady aspect. So, thank you. Yeah.
All right, well, thank you. Learning about all of that helps, I think it helps all of us understand that professional development really is an investment that does lead to success among our staff, and then, it enhances our student achievement. So, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Schroeder.
All right, financial reports for, these will be for March 2026. For the month of March, revenues exceeded expenditures by approximately $9.04 million due to the semi-annual property tax collections. This increased the general fund cash balance to $24.4 million, slightly above that. But through March, revenues are 3.2% higher than prior year, and expenditures are 3.1% higher. March revenues increased $4.5 million compared to last year, primarily again due to higher real estate tax collections. But as you recall, prior month collections were a little lower than normal, so this uptick was to be expected to kind of get that timing of those collections back in line with each other. Year-to-date revenue totals a little over $48 million, which is again $1.4 million or 3.2% higher than prior year. Revenue received through March totals $48.4 million or 91.8% of the expected annual revenue. March expenditures increased by about $149,000 compared to last year. Year-to-date expenditures total $38.5 million, which is $1.1 million or 3.1% higher than prior year. Expenditures are trending slightly higher due to some insurance costs and salary costs. And again, salary costs are gonna kind of increase every year due to step increases, percentage increases, even though we did have some offsets with not filling some positions. If those positions would be filled, it would be even higher than what they are currently. So sometimes you don't see that, like compared to prior year, that decrease, but that's just because, again, people get the percentage increase, steps increases, so you're gonna still have those increases. But when we don't fill certain positions, it's just not gonna be as drastic as an increase as it would have been. So that's where some of those savings come in. Expenditures through March are $38.5 million or 73% of the expected annual expenditures. The total cash balance for all funds is $26.4 million, with general fund comprising 24.4 of that total. The district's cash flow improved significantly in March due to the property tax settlement receipts, and we expect to receive our Summit County settlements in April, which will allow that trend to continue into the next month. Expenditure growth is consistent with expectations, and despite trending slightly above forecast, the net impact on the year-end cash balance is minimal, indicating no significant change to the district's financial outlook. Overall, the district cash balance remains consistent with long-term forecast expectations. And one more thing that's not in the reports or this financial report, because I got it kind of last minute at the Friday, Portage County is going to be sending us a distribution. There was some based on the letter they sent, they are returning a portion of unexpended money from the real estate appraisal fund. So essentially, probably over time, some of the appraisal fees we've paid, they've kind of collected and haven't had to expend some of that, and they have the ability to refund or return some of those funds. So they are choosing to do so now, and we will be receiving $745,656.71. So was a nice little unexpected chunk of change we'll get. Again, not something we will expect or put in the forecast for future years to be getting, but definitely a nice surprise.
And that was like a sexennial evaluation, right? So once every
Yes.
6 years, maybe adjustment is our understanding. We're still trying to figure out, because this is kind of unusual for them just to give us $745,000. Yeah.
Yeah, all the treasurers in Portage County were abuzz on Friday when this came out. So
It was like Christmas morning.
Well, thank you to Portage County.
Yes.
yes, thank you
We
to
will
them.
take it.
So
Okay.
we'll see that reflected in future financials, but again, I'm not going to be placing that into any forecast or anything or expectation, but good for this year.
Okay, does that conclude your report?
That concludes my report.
All right, Exhibit D1 is a resolution to approve financial statements and reports. May I have a motion?
Moved.
Are there any comments or questions? All right, then please call the roll.
Mrs. Mahalis,
Yes.
Mr. Akam,
Yes.
Mrs. Click,
Yes.
Dr. Schneider. Yes. Mrs. Fuller.
All right, thank you for that. Exhibit E1A is a resolution to accept gifts and contributions. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
We thank both of our donors on this list. And let me call the roll, please.
Mrs. Click,
Yes.
Mr. Akam,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahalis,
Yes.
Dr. Schneider. Yes. Mrs. Fuller.
All right, we have 18 personnel resolutions, and if there are no objections, I will take them together. Is that okay with everyone? So first, I'll read through them. We have Exhibit E1B1, a resolution to accept resignations and a retirement. Exhibit E1B2 is a resolution to employ support staff. Exhibit E1B3, a resolution to take notice of expiration of supplemental and extended time contracts. Exhibit E1B4, a resolution to award a teacher a one-year limited contract. Exhibit E1B5, a resolution to award teachers continuing contract status. Exhibit E1B6, a resolution to award teachers a one-year limited contract. Exhibit E1B7, a resolution to award teachers a two-year limited contract. Exhibit E1B8, a resolution to employ specialists for next school year. Exhibit E1B9, a resolution to terminate the employment of a support staff member. Exhibit E1B10, a resolution to approve the introductory appointment of support staff. Exhibit E1B11, a resolution to provide public notice of an intent to proceed with the retire-rehire. Exhibit E1B12 is a resolution to non-renew contracts. Exhibit E1B13, a resolution to employ support staff substitutes for next school year. Exhibit E1B14, a resolution to approve leave of absence requests. Exhibit E1B15, a resolution to award supplemental contracts to district and non-district personnel. Exhibit E1B16, a resolution to award summer supplemental contracts. E1B17 is a resolution to increase the employment percentage of licensed staff members. And Exhibit E1B18 is a resolution to terminate the employment of a support staff member. May I have a motion for approval, please? Are there any comments or questions about any of those? All right, Mr. Schiraldi, please call the roll.
Dr. Schneider. Yes. Mrs. Mahalis,
Yes.
Mr. Akam,
Yes.
Mrs. Click,
Yes.
Mrs. Fuller.
All right, resolutions are passed. Exhibit E1C is a resolution endorsing the observance of Staff Appreciation Week, which begins on May 4th. May I have a motion for approval, please?
Second.
All right, and I would just like to say that I have written a little note that's going to go in, where's it going?
The Pulse on Friday?
The Pulse
Yep, the
on
staff
Friday.
newsletter.
On behalf of the board, so you'll see that. But just thanking our entire staff. But one of the things I wanted to say at our meeting tonight, which comes from what I wrote, is that I think one of the things that sets us apart from other districts is the unwavering commitment of our staff to ensuring that all students feel nurtured and are challenged to excel not only in academics, but also in anything that interests them beyond test scores and report cards. And I think that that's really true of us, and we appreciate each and every one of you and all of you who do the work in the classrooms and behind the scenes, and thank you. Okay. Mr. Schiraldi, please call the roll.
Mrs. Fuller? Mrs. Click?
Yes.
Dr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Akam?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahalos?
Yes. Exhibit E1D is a resolution to approve an update to our AI policy. May I have a motion, please?
Moved.
Chair seconds. We've had a chance to review this the last month or two. Are there any comments or questions about it before we vote? No? Okay, Mr. Schiraldi, please call the roll.
Mrs. Mahalos?
Yes.
Mrs. Fuller?
Yes.
Dr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mr. Akam?
Yes.
Mrs. Click?
Yes.
All right. Policy is approved. It's written. Exhibit E1E is a resolution to approve an out-of-state and overnight trip for the Quiz Bowl team. May I have a motion, please?
Second.
Any comments or questions on that? All right, then, Mr. Schiraldi, please call the roll.
Mrs. Fuller? Mr. Akam?
Yes.
Mrs. Click?
Yes.
Dr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahalos?
Yes. And as I said, I think I said this to you, I'd love to have these students come in at some point. I don't know when, maybe they don't want to come over the summer, but at some point.
Yeah, that would be great. We won't know how it happened, or what happened, I guess, until June. But I can talk to Coach Walker, Mrs. Annie Walker, about that, because she'd love to do that as well. She'd love to
Okay.
bring the students
Yeah.
and showcase that.
Okay. And we have no discussion items tonight. Are there any board items? Okay. And then with that, we move into executive session to consider the compensation of a public employee. May I have a motion, please, to do that?
Second?
Mr. Schiraldi, please call the roll.
Dr. Schneider?
Yes.
Mrs. Click?
Yes.
Mrs. Fuller? Mrs. Mahalos?
Yes.
Mr. Akam?
Yes.
All
The
right.
board has entered executive session at 8:02.
Okay. We don't intend to vote on anything, no action, right? Except
So
to
have a
adjourn.
good night. See you,
Yeah, have a
everybody.
good night, and thank you for coming.
Go home. Yes, we'll get